between 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. Eastern Time, and grateful to be here with you as always, and very much appreciate the time that we get to spend together. So I hope you're having yourselves a wonderful day, and I hope that your week has been going well. You know that yesterday was the birthday show for me, and had the opportunity to speak with Papa Joe and have him join the broadcast, which was a lot of fun. And normally he joins us on Thursday, so we had him a few days early, and Murph is usually with me on Monday, and now Murph is here on Tuesday, so switching some things around this week, but very happy to be here with you, and very grateful to all the birthday messages and all the kind words. Really honestly can't thank you all enough for the support and the love, and I'm grateful to be here. To me, it doesn't really matter my age. That's not something that I ever get stuck on. It's just happy to be alive, happy to have the opportunity to make positive change and to do good things in this world. And I just want to thank y'all for your love and your support and everything that you've said yesterday and throughout the year and throughout time. It really does mean a lot. So thank you for the birthday wishes, and thank you for being supportive and kind. That doesn't get lost on me. So thank you for that. And, I'm grateful to God for waking up today more than anything. So with that being said, we are here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. And Murph is hanging out with us here in hour number one inside of MonPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin'. Then we're going to jump into my Bearcat Breakroom at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, featuring Brandon Connor, who is coming off of a historic moment for Binghamton Golf, as he finished at the top of the leaderboard in their most recent invitational. He's their first golfer to finish at the top of a leaderboard in any one of the events that Binghamton Golf has had since 2019. So since 2019, in the last 5 years, we get to have a nice champion of the invitational. And so big time shout out to Brandon Connor. Happy to welcome him to the show in just a little bit. And then we'll wrap up as we always do on a Tuesday with the ingredients to success, proudly presented by the wonderful team at Avicolli's. And this week we're going to be focusing on the topic, the moments. So with that being said, let's bring in Mr. Murph himself, picture in picture. And Brendan, how are you?
I'm doing well. This is definitely weird being here on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had some stuff to do yesterday, so that's all taken care of. And have a little fun on a Tuesday morning.
Yeah, and jumping right into it, I was talking about it yesterday on the show. At the beginning of the season, my preseason prediction was Yankees-Dodgers, and it was Yankees in 6. So here we are. I know that your Mets were in Queens when
We don't have to talk about that.
I know your Mets were in Queens when I was down in New York City, and interesting. Normally, when I'm at New York Comic Con, of these last few years, the Mets have been there at least twice in the last 3 years, and I, know that they weren't that far away. When you land, they're right there. I got a fantastic picture of Citi Field when I was coming in. It literally looked like the plane was going to land in Citi Field. We were right there by the entrance of it. And so happy to be in the city and have that excitement. And at the same time, I know it's a tough see you next season, but would love to get your thoughts on a season for the Mets that, they did achieve probably a lot more than people thought.
Oh, 100%. I mean, you get Pat and Howie Rose made a point on the broadcast. If you haven't seen the video, now there's been videos basically using his words, but he kind of made a point in that little monologue that he said that once you get past the disappointment of the loss and being eliminated, you can kind of look back on this season and just smile because of what they did, because of the group that they had. Everyone just seemed like they had fun. We were talking for weeks about Francisco Alvarez just pressing, and he's just trying to hit home runs every time. He had a day where Starling Marte came up to him. I think it was after game 3 or game 4 of the NLCS, where Marte pretty much just told him, like, hey, just, be you, have fun, right? Like, he's like, you're not having fun out there. Just go out and have fun. Sure enough, Alvarez just came alive. Now, granted, it was a flurry of singles, but he came alive and was starting to hit finally. It would have been nice if we had that a couple games earlier, but that's okay. But, this team, it was just magical. I mean, that's kind of the thing when you have deep postseason runs for the Mets as a fan, because you don't get very many of them. And I really hope that this is the start of things to come. And, we said that in 2015, and, they took what, the so-called innocent climb in 2015 where no one expected them to be there. And, next year there's all these expectations, and they get back to the postseason in 2016 and then lose in the wild card round to the upstart San Francisco Giants. And, that was pretty much it for that team. Wheeler went on to the Phillies. Syndergaard was never the same. DeGrom became DeGrom, but he was the only one left. Harvey had thoracic outlet syndrome, so he was done. Yeah. Steven Matz was only okay, right? So that pitching staff that got them to that 2015 World Series was all but gone. Bartolo was gone. By 2018, the only one left. By 2019, the only one left was DeGrom, right? Wheeler was on to the Phillies. Matz was on his way out to St. Louis. You had Harvey was his career was over. He was in LA and then wherever else he went. But yeah, that team couldn't really take advantage of their, success and make it sustained. 2022, we were all expecting them to make a really deep run after winning 101 games. And they lose in 3 to the Padres in the wild card series. And then 2023, they kind of fell flat on their face. Lost 70, I think they won 76 games, 75 games, something like that. So then they wipe the slate clean. Buck Showalter's out. Carlos Mendoza is in. And they start the season 0-5.
Yeah.
And they're 11 games under 500 around Memorial Day. I'm not even watching games at this point. I'm just like, this team stinks. I can't stand to watch them. 2025, bring in Juan Soto, bring Pete Alonso back, bring in Corbin Burns, like all these guys. Like, we're ready. We're gearing up for 2025, right? And then they go on this run. Jose Iglesias comes up, and that was pretty much the start. Jose Iglesias comes up. His song comes out. He performs the song after a Friday night win at Citi Field, and it's basically become the anthem of the 2024 Mets. Then Grimace throws out the first pitch. Everybody loves Grimace. At the time Grimace threw out the first pitch, I had no idea. Like, I'm asking my dad, I'm like, what the hell is a Grimace? I'm like, I have no idea what or who Grimace is. Obviously, 5 months later, I can appreciate Grimace. And I will always appreciate Grimace. But then they went on this magical run. And there were some down spots. Like, coming out of the All-Star break, they were not exactly playing all that well. Then they go to the deadline. They acquire Jesse Winker. They acquire a couple of good bullpen arms and Phil Maton and Ryan Stanek. And then they kind of just had this slow climb. And, granted, I hate to say it, but your Diamondbacks kind of helped us out a little bit. Had your Diamondbacks played well to end the season, we would have never even made the playoffs, most likely. So we got a little help from the Diamondbacks and then made the run into October. Game 3 against the Brewers, top of the 9th inning. I'm sitting there with my dad watching the game. We're like, this is over. Like, that was fun while it lasted. Yeah. Then Pete Alonso hits the 3-run home run to take the lead. They win that series. They go into the series against the Phillies. They play a really good game 1. They come back late. Game 2, the Phillies got some momentum. And then I was at game 3. We destroyed the Phillies in game 3. And then game 4, Lindor's grand slam pretty much seals it. And then they win the series. Then they go to LA. Now, they had 3 days off between the LA series, between the Philly series and the LA series. That team was purely running on adrenaline. They had to play like 15 games in 16 days or something crazy like that. You know, all the travel with the uncertainty in the series with Atlanta. They had to go to Atlanta, then they had to go to Milwaukee, then they had to go back to Atlanta to play the doubleheader on the Monday after the season. Then they had to go back to Milwaukee to play that series. Absolute mess in terms of travel and everything. But then they get to the Dodgers, and I think it's really simple that they just flat out ran out of gas. And, you know, I'm sitting there watching game one, and obviously we got completely outclassed. You know, the Dodgers just utterly dominated game one. All the talk was, oh, scoreless streak, scoreless streak, scoreless streak. That was so annoying, first of all.
Yeah.
The bias that the media has against the Mets is just really annoying. So, and don't get me wrong, I love Joe Davis. I think he does a great job at the Fox broadcast and John Smoltz. But Derek Jeter, shut the hell up, please. We know you are a Yankee for your entire career. You are the most biased person against the Mets I have ever seen. Can you at least try to be impartial as a broadcaster? Alex Rodriguez and Big Papi, they do a great job of that. Now, granted, when they talk about their teams, of course they're gonna perk them up, and I'm not gonna blame them. Yeah. I'm not saying that Jeter and A-Rod shouldn't perk up the Yankees. I'm not saying Big Papi shouldn't perk up the Red Sox, right? But when you're not talking about them, don't just bash a team because you don't like them. I know they were your rival for all these years, but come on.
Yeah.
Jeter was getting booed during the Fox broadcast when I was there for Game 3 of the NLCS. We were booing the crap out of Derek Jeter. A-Rod, Papi, we didn't care. But Jeter, he didn't hear the end of it. And it was honestly great. I loved him as a player. I can't stand him as a broadcaster. I can't. What in the heck is going on outside? You know what? I think our landscaper's here. This is early for him.
No.
But we're getting our grass cut. I don't know if you guys can hear it in the background.
No, we can't hear anything.
You probably can. It's pretty loud.
I can't hear anything. There's nothing.
Okay, good. I'm glad that the mic isn't picking it up. Yeah. The ride came to an end. As disappointing as it was, Howie was right. You know, it's going to wear off, and, you know, eventually you're just going to be, you know, you're just going to look back at the season and smile, right? I got to be there for 2 postseason games, a big win over the Phillies, and, you know, Dodgers, yeah, that game wasn't great. But the Dodgers series, I got to spend it with, you know, some of my, you know, with my friends. I got to take the train to the game for the first time.
Yeah.
So, you know, drove out to Long Island, and we took the LIR into the station, and then took the boardwalk up and across underneath the 7 line to get into the game. Never done that before, so that was really, really cool. But yeah, it was a magical run. I'm sad that it's over, but, you know, now I just get to, you know, root against the Yankees. So that's always fun.
Yeah, it's interesting because, you know, Mets fans have the way that they feel, and Yankees fans have the way that they feel, and when they go up against each other, I mean, some people want a Subway Series, and yeah, I talked to a Yankee
that's fan. What I wanted.
Yeah, I talked to a fan a couple days ago, and that was what he was looking for, and, you know, I thought it would have been great, but ultimately, you know, we don't see it. We have seen the Dodgers play the Yankees, as I said on yesterday's show. This is going to be the 12th time in the World Series. The Yankees have won 8 of them. The Dodgers have won 3. Keep in mind, when it started, the Dodgers were in Brooklyn. So it was Brooklyn versus the Bronx. And so to some people, that never dies. We look at the fact that the Dodgers won the last time that they met each other, which was before you and I were born, 1981. Mm-hmm. So they have not played in the World Series against each other in our lifetime. And they only played one series this season, which was in New York. And the Dodgers won that 2-1. So we're going to start off on Friday, October 25th in LA. There'll be 2 games there. Then there'll be at least 2 games in the Bronx with the Yankees. And if it goes beyond that, the Yankees will have game 5 and the Dodgers will have game 6 and 7 as it runs in that way where it is 2-3-2. So that's what it looks like. This was my prediction in the preseason. So I will continue with that preseason prediction of the Yankees in 6. And I just hope it's a good series. I hope it's fun. I hope it's good for baseball. I hope it's good for sports. I hope it brings some people into the game that weren't in the game before. A lot of good things to look at. My Arizona Diamondbacks. Am I still hurt that they're not in it? You know, absolutely. Do I wear my Diamondback stuff proud? Absolutely. And more than happy to wear my Diamondback stuff. I wore it yesterday for my birthday, the new sweater I got from Papa Joe and Mary. So, you know, I mean, you support your team, you support who you love and what you care about. And ultimately, you know, you got to give credit to the teams that got there. Juan Soto is just, I mean, he like Judge, his contract continues to go up. And where he's going to end up, will he stay a Yankee? I think if they win the World Series, they got to lock it up. I feel like they should have locked it up beforehand. And now that those
he's a Boris client.
Yeah, I mean,
Boris clients never signed free agency extensions.
Well, and the thing is,
but he was always going to hit free agency. It's just a matter of, you know, is he going to re-sign with the Yankees or is he going to go elsewhere?
Yeah, I just feel like old man Steinbrenner. He was like, hey, you know, whatever they want to do, he brought the muscle. You know, he definitely brought the muscle. It was like, you do what you want to do, but if you want to be a Yankee, this is how we're going to do it. We're going to give you money, but we're not going to jerk around with this stuff. So, you know, we'll see. We'll see what it looks like after this, but it'll be an exciting series. It's going to be something fun. I'm happy that you got to go see the Mets. It was nice to be in New York City when the Mets were playing in Queens, like I said, and to see some Mets fans traveling around and getting on the plane and all that stuff. So, you know, happy for the season that the Mets had and happy for the season that the Guardians had and everybody that made it to the postseason. And, you know, the Rangers and the Diamondbacks, we'll see what they can do bouncing back after being in the World Series in 2023. Murph and I got a lot of stuff to talk about on the NFL side of things. Deshaun Watson is out for the season. And Amari Cooper's on a new team. Devontae Adams is on your team. And this scenario of when Aaron Rodgers signed his extension, the way that it seemed to me was that him and Devontae were a package deal. And when he signed that extension in Green Bay, I said, okay, so if he signed that, then Devontae will sign and all will be well. Within 3 days, Devontae was a Raider. It didn't work out for Devontae. Signed a 5-year contract. He's 2 years into it. He's under contract until 2026-27. That apparently didn't matter to him. And he didn't want to be with the Raiders anymore. So he ends up going to the Jets and reuniting with Aaron Rodgers, which is great, but also confusing because the last time, like I said, Aaron signed his big deal, Devontae ran. And now he's running to Aaron Rodgers after signing a big deal and thinking the grass was greener on the other side. So we'll see what happens from here with those moves and Amari Cooper joining Buffalo. Amari is still in the last year of his contract with the Dallas Cowboys. He signed also, I believe, a 5-year deal, spent some time in Dallas, I think a couple seasons, then went to Cleveland, and now is in Buffalo under the same contract that Dallas signed him to, because these days people just sign contracts and then try to renegotiate within the terms of the deal itself. So it's weird, it's strange that Amari's still under a Cowboys deal on the second team since leaving the Cowboys, but in Buffalo, they're trying to make a move, and obviously the Jets are trying to score. The Jets have shaken up a lot of things. Head coach Robert Saleh is not there anymore, and then beyond that, you have Nate Hackett demoted from the offensive coordinating duties. You take your D coordinator and bump him up to interim head coach. The Jets have done a lot of things in a short amount of time to try and shake up a team that hasn't really played well. So we'll talk about all of that right after this on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. Here's a message from Renee from Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York. Open Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and Sundays for brunch.
It's a lot like the way that my mom and dad ran their restaurant. We have put in place a lot of people that are family to us, very similar to how my dad hired people that were family to him. And then the tradition I'm carrying on is a lot of the items that are on our menu are my dad's. And he taught our chefs how to recreate his dishes. So I think that Tommy McInerney, who our executive chef is, to him it is an art. And I think that when he does create a dish, it's not just about making the food taste delicious, which is definitely our priority, but it's an art to him, and it's almost like his canvas on a plate where he just wants the colors to look great, and people love it because he takes pride in that. And Brian and I appreciate that. We want it to obviously look good and taste good. I will tell you, when we opened up, it was 6 weeks before COVID. And what was amazing was the community, our friends and family stepped up, and everybody did takeout. Everybody supported us. Our hearts were just so filled. So to Brian and I, obviously our friends come all the time, and we just have repeat customers in Jamesville, and I think people going to our previous restaurant in Green Lakes are making the trip to come to Brian's Landing to support us. And I mean, I think we have great food and a great atmosphere. So it's very, very important to us.
Head to Brian's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York, where memories have become recipes that are now meals to share with you. Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and on Sundays for brunch. And be sure to come out for live music Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Here is a special message from Brian Bruno, owner of Servomation Refreshments Incorporated.
I grew up in the family business, had the experience of working for a national food service company with thousands of employees, and as much as I enjoyed the experience I had, there was something about, owning my own company and being able to change the things I saw wrong with the industry firsthand, which is why I moved back to my hometown in Canastota, New York to launch Servomation. It was back in 2007. When we first started the business in 2007, really you didn't find any machines with credit card readers. There's a lack of variety in machines. You got stuck with basically whatever the vending company wanted to sell that day. There's a lot of inefficiencies in the business, and those were all things that we saw as opportunities, both from a customer level to improve and from an operating level to be more efficient. We've really been at the forefront of introducing retail technology into our space. We were doing self-checkout back in 2009 before it really became a national phenomenon. The whole point of it isn't to just improve the customer experience, it's to make it feel more like a retail environment where people don't have to be afraid of what they're buying behind glass. They don't have to be afraid of not being able to see the ingredients of the packages. It was an easy transaction from that standpoint. If we were to reinvent something, we wanted to make sure what we were making looked and felt more like a deli and not like something that you would traditionally see in a vending machine. I was tired of hearing for years the customers say the wheel of death because the vending machine would circle around with the same tuna salad in it. What we wanted to do was it really change the perception of that food. So allowing customers to touch it, allowing customers to feel the weight of it, allowing customers to see the freshness of it, and also the variety of it really helps them change the perception and ultimately the value of what we bring to them. The point of differentiation you have to make is either in value or the quality, and I think on both of those fronts, Servomation has really in large part changed that value system for employees, so they no longer have to worry about bringing their food from home or having to leave their desk during the day and rush out to get back in time for their break to end. We're bringing something that they can count on in their break room every day, and they know it's going to be there, they know it's going to be fresh, and they don't have to worry about it being sold out or something that they don't enjoy. We've also heavily invested in flavored water machines, so you can get a glass of water with a fresh piece of fruit in it, along with bean to cup coffee machines. So there's not a day that goes by we're not surprised when we get customers that call us and say, we didn't know you could do all this. We're really lucky to have a strong group of dedicated employees. Most of our employees have been with us since inception. They're family to us, and people like doing business with people they like and trust. And I think the same thing goes for employees. In a day and an age where there's a lot of corporations that just look at an employee as a number and don't get to know them, that's just not the way I was raised or how I like to do business. So we're a little old-fashioned. We like getting close to our employees. We like knowing how we can help them. We like knowing how we can improve their lives, adjust their schedules, whatever it may be to help improve their quality of life. And we think in the end that makes for a happier employee. We're fortunate enough to have really grown over the last several years, and from Pennsylvania to Massachusetts to Connecticut, we really do have a strong connection, even though we're not in the rooms every day with these employees. There's not one single employee that we feel like we don't know, and certainly we know they can call us at any time, and they're definitely treated as family to us. I wake up every single day really excited to surprise our customers in a good way. The one thing I can tell you is I think that every one of our employees and every one of our customers will continue to be at the forefront of every decision we make.
Find out how Servomation can help you and your business by going to servomation.com. And a welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. Murph and I are here on Tuesday, typically with you on Monday, but we've come to you on this Tuesday as we switched around some things for my birthday week. And so we, speaking on the World Series and the Dodgers and the Yankees, as well as Murph's Mets and going out and seeing the Mets, and now jumping to the NFL. Amari Cooper made his debut with the Buffalo Bills. They won 34-10 at home in Buffalo. He had 4 catches for 66 yards and a touchdown in his debut with the Bills. On the other side, or I should say on another team in the big move, Davante Adams had 3 catches for 30 yards in a 37-15 loss to the Pittsburgh Steelers on the road. So, Murph, what is going on? I mean, they get rid of the head coach. They tell Nate Hackett, we're going to have somebody else call the offensive plays. They take the defensive coordinator, make him the interim head coach. They go and get Davante Adams. And their offense still can't get in the end zone. What is happening?
Oh, with these guys?
Yeah.
Oh, they suck. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. They suck. I mean, it's not completely the offense's fault because the offense hasn't really played all that poorly.
Yeah.
But they keep having to play from behind.
Yeah.
Because this highly touted defense that they've been talking about, right? It was great last year. Now they can't stop the run. And they had called for pass interference on basically every play. Now, granted, DJ Reed is hurt. Chuck Clark is hurt. Ashton Davis just got hurt. Their secondary is beat up. Their pass defense was still good, but the run defense has been atrocious. Now, I don't know how much of that's going to change now that Hassan Reddick's in the building, and he's going to play on Sunday.
Yeah.
But all I know is this team is an absolute joke right now. This team reminds me of what the Mets were when they were 11 games under 500. Yeah. Except they've given us no indication that anything's going to change. And listen, Rodgers did not play that bad on Sunday night. The first interception, that was all on him. Completely on him. It was a bad throw. He knew it right away. It was getting picked off, so on and so forth. The second one was in Garrett Wilson's chest.
Yeah.
And it bounced off his pad and it was picked off. That's not Rodgers' fault. He hit him in the chest. That's all Garrett Wilson. And he admitted that. And Garrett knows that was, a mistake on his part. And, Aaron doesn't look like he held it really against him because he was still throwing him the ball a lot. But yeah, and the offensive line has not been as good as they should be. Tyron Smith's he's having his worst year in a decade.
Yeah.
I mean, this dude is an all-pro, a future Hall of Famer when he's on the field just a couple of years ago. Not even, literally, the last 2 years. He's come to the Jets. He's healthy, but he stinks. He's given up more sacks this year than he has in the last 2 or 3 years combined. I saw some crazy stat about it. Rodgers just doesn't have the time right now. And I know he gets the ball out quick and everything. but he doesn't have the time. The offensive line has not been good. I don't want to bench Tyron Smith, but Olu Fashanu deserves a shot at left tackle right now. Tyron Smith's just not cutting it. You're 2-5. Something has to change. Because if you lose one more game, you're done. Because you basically have to win out to make the playoffs. And you are not going to win 9 games in a row to end the season.
Yeah.
And even if you do, that's not what you want to do going into the playoffs. If you could win 9 in a row, be 11-6, and still not make the playoffs.
Yeah.
I don't even want to watch this team anymore. They are a joke. It was not, clearly, Saleh was not the problem. There is a serious accountability issue on that team. Too many false starts, too many penalties, and these are just stupid penalties. Every game, it's the same thing. And obviously, watching the Jets Sunday night, I wasn't really paying too much attention to it. Obviously, with Game 6 going on, but I had a little TV where we had the Jets game on, and we're up. I think it was 15-6 at one point. We're feeling pretty good. Brees was having a big game. They had ran a nice little guitar fake to Tyler Conklin for a touchdown. They looked good.
Yeah.
And then they stalled, and nothing happened after. The interceptions happened, and Steelers took advantage. Russell Wilson picked apart that secondary. He basically stayed away from Sauce Gardner, and then he was fine. It's like you didn't have to do anything. So, I'm getting sick of watching them. It's the same mistakes game after game. It's same old Jets. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Just with different personnel.
Yeah.
I am fully expecting to have a complete and utter teardown after this year. Now, I wouldn't necessarily be surprised if Rodgers is still here, because if Rodgers still wants to play, you're going to let him play. He's got a huge cap hit huge dead cap hit if he doesn't play. So if he wants to play, I'll let him play. But if that's all the case, the entire coaching staff will be gone. Ulbrich, Hackett, everybody. Hackett might be the only one that stays because of Rodgers, but I think Rodgers will understand that Hackett needs to go. But they're going to go out. If Dallas fires Mike McCarthy, they might get Mike McCarthy as their head coach, and it would be hilarious. But yeah, at this point, I am prepared for a complete and utter teardown after this year. If Rodgers retires, I don't know who the heck we're going to get to play quarterback.
Jordan Travis.
I know I want Jordan Travis to be the starter eventually. I don't know if I want him to be the starter next year, but I do eventually want him to be the starter. I would like to, maybe give Tyrod Taylor a shot. Maybe bring in a different veteran as a stopgap QB. Devontae's probably still going to be there. He said he kind of wants to stay long term. Garrett, the biggest issue is that Garrett, Brees, and Sauce will all need to be paid at some point.
Yeah.
They are all in next year. This is year 3 for them. Next year is the last year of their rookie deals. Now, obviously, Garrett and Sauce have the 5th-year options, but they're going to want extensions. Brees is in the last year of his deal because he was a second-round pick. Brees is probably the guy that needs to get extended first. But you also have Braylon Allen behind him. Braylon Allen's been a little bit of a revelation for them. But I don't know. I don't think I can talk about these guys anymore. They stink. And by the way, Dodgers in 5.
Dodgers what?
Dodgers in 5.
Dodgers in 5. Okay.
Yankees stink. They had the easiest road to the World Series I've ever seen. They played the Royals, who got lucky to get in the playoffs because nobody wanted those last 2 wild card spots in the American League. And they played the Guardians, who won the worst division in baseball, arguably. So, yeah, and Yankees never lose to the teams from the AL Central in the postseason. They just don't. So they should just be happy that the Houston Astros weren't there waiting for them. So, Yankees stink. Dodgers at 5. Shohei's going to get his first ring, and that's that.
Yeah, I mean,
not going to be a long series.
It's I mean, we can definitely tell how you feel about the Yankees, but I mean, it's
well, I mean, ask any Mets fan on the planet. Yeah. The two teams that we root for are the Mets and whoever's playing the Yankees.
Yeah, I mean, I get it, and it's not lost on me. It's obviously not hidden by you. I mean, I could definitely tell. We look at
my friends that are Yankees fans understand.
Yeah, no, I see it, and we look at some of the contracts you brought up: Garrett Wilson 2026, Sauce 2026. They Quincy Williams 2025, C.J. Mosley 2025, Elijah Vera Tucker 2025, Jermaine Johnson II 2026. Looking at the roster, Brees Hall 2025. Looking at
they got a lot of guys that are going to have to get paid.
Right. And that's why I said that this Aaron Rodgers thing could only go a couple years before it started to affect the cap, in the sense of you bring him in and you have all these guys on cheaper rookie deals, and once you have to sign them to an actual contract beyond their rookie contract, because people forget the rookie contracts are not very high in a lot of ways, then when you see what they've done and you see how they've added to the team, you're in a position where you say to yourself, okay, and this is why I said it looking at the contracts when Aaron came in. I said, you got a couple of years with Aaron where none of this affects you. He comes in, all these guys are on rookie deals, no concern. But within a year or two, you have to look at this and say, okay, if he comes back next year and you're negotiating contracts, you have to understand that Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner and Jermaine Johnson II and Brees Hall, I would imagine they want to keep at least 3 of those guys. So when you're making these decisions out of rookie contracts, you have to be really clear with yourself and say, okay, Aaron's in year 2. Yeah, he didn't play in year 1, but he's in year 2. And if we're going to give him a year 3, what does that do for us long term? Do we just sign him to a year deal? Do you, or not just sign, but do you look at his do you say to him, okay, this is what I have you for? I can't
remember if he had 1 or 2 more years on his deal.
It's I can't extend you beyond this. I can't. He's done in 2025. And so
he's got 1 more year on that contract.
His contract.
So it's like $60 million of dead money if he doesn't play next year.
Yeah, his contract right now, and he's not making a lot of money because, obviously Green Bay gave him the mega deal and all that stuff. But next year he
didn't need the money.
He's $23.5 million against the cap next year. His base salary next season is $2.5 million. His signing proration is $7 million. His option is $14 million. And so in 2025, he's under contract.
I don't exactly know how that works.
In 2026, it can be voided. So, the way that the deal, this is the contract. $75 million guaranteed, 2023 salary roster bonus, 2024 salary roster bonus, and the 2023-24 roster bonuses are treated as signing bonuses. There's no tag provision. There's a full no trade clause. There's a 2024 option bonus, a 2025 option bonus, and then 2026 through 2028, the years are automatically voided. So we look at the fact that if they want to keep him next year, that's going to affect some of these guys that we're talking about, like the Brees Halls of the world. But long-term planning is what is important for the Jets. If you think you can win a Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers, he got hurt last year. It ain't working right now. If they want to give it one more shot, I can't imagine that they go beyond next season with him and say, let's ride this thing out again. So, you have to make a plan for the future, and you have to really think about the fact that Sauce is not going to be cheap. Garrett Wilson's not going to be cheap. Brees Hall's not going to be cheap. So they're going to have to figure it out and figure it out quick. Jacksonville on their side really quick here in Duval. In the Duval overseas in London, the Jacksonville Jaguars won that second game. They typically win the second game. I mean, that's because they've been
because they're used to
in
the
London.
time difference
Right,
by then.
they've been in London for over a week. The team coming in is jet lagged. The Jaguars are not. So this is a good game for them because people are, oh, Dan, they played a really good game. And my response was they played a really good game in week 2 of them being in London, and they had an advantage of not having to travel like the other team did that came to see them. So to me, this game is kind of one of those games that I put by itself and say, let's see how they play after this. They got Green Bay coming up this week at home in Jacksonville. Yes, they had a 96-yard punt return by Parker Washington, which was huge. Tank Bigsby's come up really well and done a great job this season, and especially in recent history. And in this game, had over 100 yards, got himself in the end zone. Brian Thomas Jr., the rookie, has done a really good job showing that he can connect with Trevor Lawrence. So there's been a lot of positives that have happened. JaMychal Hasty scored on his old team. He was with the Jaguars last year. He scored the first anything of the game, which was a touchdown in the first quarter on a 16-yard pass for Drake May. Jaguars win 32-16. They're 2-5 on the season. Am I impressed by what they've done? No. I mean, once they start winning consistently, once they start showing me that they can stop a team on defense, and what did I say? I'm not even in the locker room this year. Been in the locker room for over a decade. And what did I say at the beginning of this year? A few games in. I said they have a cultural problem. And what did Doug Peterson say last week? We have a cultural problem. I'm not even there, and I can sense that team because I've been around them long enough to know when the culture ain't right. And the culture's not right. So you beat the Patriots. Now you got the Packers at home. You're on the road at the Eagles. You got the Vikings at home. Then you're at the Lions. You got the Texans at home. That entire run, Packers, playoff team. Eagles could be a playoff team. Vikings, playoff team. Lions, playoff team. Texans, playoff team. They got to run a gamut in the next 5, and I'm going to really be paying attention of the what can you show me in that time period that makes me believe that there is something here. And that'll be left to be seen. Then they're at the Titans, and they have the Jets at home. Then they're at the Raiders, and they have the Titans at home, and then they're at the Colts. So after that, you should beat the Titans twice. You should be able to handle the Jets if they keep playing this way. You should be able to handle the Raiders who can't figure things out and don't have Devontae Adams anymore. But divisionally, you've already lost to the Texans, and you beat the Colts. So you have to beat the Colts again because the Colts are the team ahead of you. And you got to try and get a little bit higher than that, and you're going to have to steal one from the Texans. The Texans are 6-2. The Colts are 4-3. The Jaguars are 2-5, and Tennessee's 1-5. You gotta beat Tennessee twice. You got to beat Indianapolis twice, and you got to split with Houston so that you can put yourself in a position to be second at worst, and to hopefully have a shot at a wild card berth, because Jacksonville's in a place right now where they really have to figure this out. Or it could be Doug Peterson. It could be Press Taylor, the offensive coordinator. It could be a bunch of these guys. They just traded Roy Robertson Harris, who's a starting D lineman for them. And I'm not in Roy Robertson Harris's head, but when he got traded, I was like, I feel like, in my opinion of being in that locker room, he was like, yo, I'm a vet. I got so much time. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this with this team. I'm not wasting my time on this team. There is a cultural problem in Jacksonville. It doesn't matter where the virus comes in. It matters that it's in the building. It doesn't matter who it's infected. It matters that it's infected someone. And they're going to have to figure this out. Because right now, Jacksonville is a you-know-what show of what they're supposed to be. And I love my Jaguars. But I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. And I'm sick and tired of okay, mediocre, almost, they kinda. It's not good enough. You have to be consistent. You have to show up. And when players are talking about guys quitting during a game, publicly talking about that, that says a lot to me about a team. That not only did you quit during the game, but you're comfortable telling people that are total strangers that you quit. And I don't have that word in my vocabulary. So if you're quitting on the field, I don't think you should be paid, and I don't think you should play. And that's my feeling. If you quit on your team, you don't need to play and you don't need to be out there. You don't need to get paid. You don't need to have your face on the billboards. If you decide that you just want to sit in the middle of a game, then sit on the ground like a baby and the next day clean out your locker and get off my team. I would rather play with 20 guys on my roster than have 53 guys and a bunch of them don't want to be there. If you don't want to be there, fine. But Jacksonville has to really figure this out because the culture issue has existed with multiple coaches. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done, and I just hope there's good people within there to do it because they've kicked some good people out. So we'll see. With that being said, Murph, as always, I appreciate your time. I appreciate us ad-libbing this week to Tuesday, and I look forward to talking with you soon, and always hoping the best for you and the fam.
Yes, sir. Go Dodgers.
This man ain't hiding nothing.
Nope. Never.
I'll talk with you soon, buddy. Take care.
Yes, sir.
See you. That coming from Murph here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We're going to take a quick step aside on the broadcast this morning, and when we come back, we're going to jump right into the Bearcat Breakroom, and the Bearcat Breakroom giving us an opportunity in our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with the Binghamton University Bearcats to tell the stories of student athletes, coaches, and administration in this wonderful university institution in the southern tier of the great state of New York. So that's coming up momentarily here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora after this fast break. And as always, we appreciate you being here with us. Brandon Connor coming up next of Binghamton Golf. Stay with us.
In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you. Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
All right, you need to come out here and get yourself the Brooklyn Pickle. I was talking about this with one of my buddies. I was like, yo, there's no better sandwich in the state of New York than the Brooklyn Pickle. And now that I found out that they're going down to North Carolina, we are taking over your taste buds everywhere you are, wherever you're gonna be. You need to get yourself out to the Brooklyn Pickle. Pinehurst, you just realized that you found yourself the best sandwich shop that you're ever gonna have. This is a glorious moment. It's a blessing to your community. You're welcome. Brooklyn in the house, baby. Go over to the Brooklyn Pickle. You already know what it is.
You heard the man. Head to Brooklyn Pickle Pinehurst on 1788 Old Morgantown Road in Southern Pines, North Carolina.
Hi, Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at maandpaspopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily, and we bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have at any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We appreciate you being here Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern time, and I am honored and privileged to be able to be here with you on so many different channels that are worldwide. YouTube.com/WakeUpCallDT, Facebook.com/WakeUpCallDT, and on WakeUpCallDT.podbean.com. And in our conversations with the Binghamton University Bearcats, Brandon Connor joining us here today, and we have an opportunity in our Bearcat Breakroom and our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with the Binghamton University Bearcats to celebrate him ending at the top of the leaderboard. It's the first time that any Binghamton University golfer has gotten to the top of the leaderboard in any of these events since 2019. So as we await Brandon coming on here on screen, we look forward to the opportunity of speaking with him and talking about this great moment, this great time here, not only for him, but for Binghamton University. And so with that being said, we're going to go ahead and bring Brandon in here to speak with him about this awesome moment and to celebrate Binghamton golf as the team continues on here this season. So with that being said, Brandon, how are you?
Good. How are you, Dan?
I'm
Appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, Brandon, first and foremost, bring me into kind of your preparation for this season. Is there anything that you had been working on, anything that you've been doing differently, anything that stands out to you that you kind of have said to yourself, in my evolution as a golfer, I want to make sure that I'm going to do this or not do that? Do you have any of those pieces?
I think I've kind of just been working on the same things for a while since I got to school. really trying to hone in my game. The basics, obviously, hitting the ball well, driving, putting, but as well as working out in the gym every day, trying to gain speed there, and then try and hone in the mental game as well when I'm in those big moments and try to close it out.
You know, you mentioned the mental game, Brandon, and for not just the sport of golf or sports in general, but the mental side of things is huge. You know, you could prepare all that you want, but in any walk of life, whatever you're doing professionally and personally, if your mind isn't right, if you don't have the ability to kind of quiet your mind and focus, you could struggle with anything. So bring me into the mental side of things and how important that is to you and what you did to become mentally strong.
Yeah, in golf, mental stability is huge. I mean, there's a lot of ups and downs, a lot of shots that you could feel like you hit well and don't go the right way, and you want to make sure you're able to stay balanced and not get too high with the highs or too low with the lows. I feel like for me, just trying to stay in the moment and focus on little details in every shot. That's all you can focus on is hit the best shots at the best times and let the cards fall your way.
So when did it start for you, Brandon? When did golf become something that you were really passionate about?
Uh, my dad has played for a while. He grew up playing it. So he introduced me when I was pretty young. I think I started when I was probably 5. But I didn't so I played it all when I was young, but I didn't really start probably taking it seriously during COVID. That was my sophomore year of high school. Got a coach, started to play a bunch of summer tournaments. That's really where it became serious, and then I was lucky enough to be able to come here and join the team here. It's been a blast.
Growing up for you as a kid, did you have that belief that, like, you know, I'm going to play golf in college, I'm going to play Division One? I mean, could you see that early on, or is it something that kind of surprised you that as you were going through junior high and high school, you're like, hey, this could really be a thing?
For me, I felt like I always had that belief. I don't know if it really showed. I mean, my freshman year, looking back, I wasn't really as good as I felt like I was. So it definitely took a big step during COVID and all the stuff I did to get better. But I felt like I always had that belief that I would play college athletics, whether growing up, whether it was any sport I played during the year. I loved them all, but golf definitely took a leap during that time, and I felt like I always had that ability and felt like it turned out pretty well.
Brandon Connor here with us this morning in this edition of the Bearcat Breakroom on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora in our multimedia marketing partnership with Binghamton University. Brandon, you come from Cincinnati, Ohio. How did the connection happen with Binghamton?
It kind of stems. Obviously, my dad is from upstate New York. He's from Seneca Falls, so he was familiar with the area, and I'm just so he kind of introduced me to this part of the world and recruiting up here. But I emailed Coach Herseg and had a little connection there, and I felt like we bonded well. And Binghamton's a great academics school as well as athletics, and I felt like it was a great fit for me, looking for great education as well as playing Division I golf.
And you brought up your dad a couple times here, Brad. What's been the best advice that Brad's ever given you, your father?
He's just been a constant supporter. Just really helping me do whatever he can to get me to the best place possible. Just I don't know if he's ever given me specific words that really resonated, but just all the support he's brought. He's done a lot of my scheduling with summer tournaments and other tournaments, and just kind of being the guy behind the scenes, coming to every tournament and believing in me has really helped me flourish, I feel like.
And then your mom, Laura, is there anything that stands out in her support of you?
Pretty similar, honestly. She was never into golf. She plays it maybe once or twice a year. She's never been a huge fan of it, but she's always supporting and give me texts. She was really sad that she was not able to be there this weekend, but she was here a few times this year, and just same thing, really believing in me all the time and giving me all the love and support I could need.
Yeah, and for you, like you said, being there this weekend, the Lehigh Invitational, that you had this finish at the top of the leaderboard, and to kind of let everybody know here, the 2-round event, you had a score of 67 and 74, which gave you 141. You were 3 under par, the only golfer in the 45-man field to finish the tournament under par. Bring me into that, what that means to you. That not only did you finish at the top of the leaderboard at the Lehigh Invitational, but of 45 golfers, 44 did not finish under par. The only one that did was you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was great. I mean, the course was definitely very challenging. Probably the toughest greens I felt like we played all year. They were very fast, very firm, and it was tough to navigate. I definitely got some good breaks early, made some long putts, but just kind of trying to find myself in the right spots constantly, hitting the easiest shots I could and simplest shots, and worked out great all week.
The game of golf is such a difficult game, and it looks impossible when you stand at a tee and the ball's 400 yards away and it's around the corner and you can't even really see it. You can kind of see like the top of the flag, but that's it. How do you play a game like this strategically when, to most people's eyes, the game looks like it's dang near impossible? Like if I get a hole in one, it's sheer luck. Bring me into the mechanics and the technical side of golf and how you play the game your own way in a game that so many people feel is very lucky and very difficult.
I think you definitely just have to kind of stay in your own lane. If you really do think about the odds of golf hitting a small little ball in a hole hundreds of yards away can really overwhelm you. But if you just keep staying in the moment and just think a million golf shots before, a bunch in the range, I know how to hit it. I know what my swing feels are to hit it good. If you just focus on that and just think of a small target, so off the tee, I'm aiming sometimes not even down the middle of the fairway. Maybe I'm avoiding water or hazards. I try and look at one spot and just really hone in on that spot and focus on my practice and my swing and just hit the best shot possible and do the next one, and hopefully it goes in the hole as in a small amount of strokes.
For you, is there something about the game that you feel like you've really honed in on and been good at, like improved at in your, like something that maybe looks impossible to someone that to you feels more natural? Is there a part of the game like that?
I felt like for me, driving has always been one of my strengths, although it looks probably the hardest. You got to hit it 300 yards down the fairway, whatever. But that has definitely been, for me, it's been relatively simple. I don't know what it is. It's just aim away and fire. I've definitely had some struggles in the past. I mean, when you think struggled in the past mentally, at the end of last year and the beginning of this year, a little bit, I couldn't get out of my head like hazards that were in the way, and you gotta like, part of golf, you gotta mentally not think about that. You gotta think about the target, like I said, and really hone in on that target. And this week and kind of the end of this season, I felt like I've really done a good job of kind of getting over that hump and being able to just hit a shot like you do on the range all the time, and not really think about all the bad things that could happen. How you got to think about all the good things that can happen.
I don't know if you're realizing this, but the tagline for Wake Up Call is where sports meets life, Brandon. And a lot of what you said about golf, to me, I hear about life. You said you can't focus on the hazards and how everything can go wrong. You got to focus on, what you're trying to achieve and look at how everything can go right. Do you feel like golf kind of teaches you about life?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, a lot of what life lessons you teach, you got to stay in the moment and do the best you can there. Like you said, golf is there's a lot of luck involved. A lot of high level teachers say winning requires luck. I got pretty lucky this week, but you gotta stay in the moment and hit the best shots you can, and hopefully the bounces go your way. And it's really all you can do is do the best of your abilities and see how it turns out.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree, and I think, I mean, you kind of said it perfectly. Of, you know, focus on what can go right, and just stay focused on not the problem, but focused on what you're trying to achieve. Do you have a favorite moment that you have played in up to this point? Is there something that sticks out to you in your career as a golfer that has been your proudest moment or most memorable time that you kind of reflect on?
There's definitely a few. I'd say before school, it was definitely our high school team going to the state tournament. Played really well there. Our whole team turned around from being not a very good high school team to being fourth in the state. That was really fun. But I'd say before this week, it was definitely last year at the home tournament. Coming in second, everyone played really well the second day. I think we had 3 under par scores. It was just a ton of fun to be in contention and have to be in contention with your teammates and have not every shot just mean for yourself, but for your school and your teammates, and do the best of your abilities that you could.
Yeah, and you know, we look at what you did over this weekend at the Lehigh Invitational. You tied the second lowest round in program history for Binghamton golf relative to par at 67, which was 5 under. And with a final score of 3 under par, you tied the 6th lowest score through 36 holes relative to par in program history. You set the record in that category at the 2023 Matthews Auto Collegiate Golf Invitational, where you had a score of 67 and 70, 137, which was 7 under par, which you just mentioned, tying for second, finishing there. That was the best finish of your career, tying for second until what happened over this weekend. So, I mean, and then also you're the first Bearcat to earn medalist honors since Ryan Rodriguez finished in first place at the 2019 Navy Invitational. And this is the 31st time a Binghamton golfer received medalist honors since the Bearcats began competing in Division I in 2001. So for you, I mean, we look at 2019, the last time someone earned medalist honors. To people that don't know, what does medalist honors mean? And then secondly, what does it mean to you to stop a 5-year drought?
Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, to go down the history books is always a great thing, and never trade it for anything. I mean, winning a golf tournament is always hard. There's only one person that's going to come out on top, and there's a lot of people trying their hardest. And I feel really grateful to have the opportunity here, and I've been working hard for it. And obviously, the last year at the home tournament, I was in the lead after the first round. Played solid the second day, and someone else went out there and played better than me and beat me. And luckily, this week, I was able to play well the second day after an incredible first round and come out on top, and it's a great feeling.
Brandon, you seem like a very even keel, mellow guy. Is there anything that like amps you up? Is there anything that kind of brings that energy out?
Yeah, I try to stay pretty even keel, and I feel like that helps on the golf course. But I mean, I definitely get very amped up watching sports. Big Bills fan watching sports. I'll get very amped up, and just anything great that goes my way. I mean, I've made a few hole-in-ones. I'll get amped up then. I mean, I don't know. I have to see it, but I get amped up occasionally, but not too often.
You said you're a big Bills fan. Amari Cooper makes his debut with the Buffalo Bills over the weekend, and in his debut, 4 catches, 66 yards, a touchdown. They win They blow out Tennessee in Buffalo. What are your thoughts on Amari Cooper coming to the Bills?
Yeah, it was unfortunate. I was playing golf, couldn't watch most of the game, but I think that's a great addition. I mean, they definitely were lacking someone wide receiver. I've heard all that they couldn't get separation, and Amari Cooper's a great route runner, and I think he'll be a great addition to Josh Allen. I'm really excited to see how it unfolds the rest of the year.
So, coming from Cincinnati, you said your dad's from upstate New York. How did you become a Bills fan? Was that also in connection with your dad?
Yeah, he's always been a big Bills fan. We were kind of Bengals fans. I live very close to the stadium,
Yeah.
but I don't know. I felt like following my dad's footsteps, being a little different than the rest of my friends, and wouldn't trade it for anything.
Yeah. So, what do you think? Is this a year where you can see something happening? The Patriots are terrible. The Jets are imploding from within. The Dolphins don't have a quarterback. I would imagine if you guys can do what needs to be done here. I mean, obviously there's going to be mistakes and there's going to be moments where a team's going to trip up and have some adversity, but arguably the AFC East could be in its worst state that it's been in a long time. What are your thoughts on Buffalo? Do you think this could be a special year?
Yeah, I mean, as long as anything catastrophic doesn't happen, I'd like to think we have the AFC East wrapped up. So that's always great. I mean, as far as past that, anytime Josh Allen's playing well, we got a chance. I like to see how the defense shapes up. It's had some good and bad moments, but I don't see any reason why they can't do it really well this year. So I'm hopeful moving forward.
All right. A lot of positives there for the Bills fans that are watching and listening around the country and the world. Brandon, before I let you go, we're going to play something called Rapid Fire. It gives us an opportunity to get to know you a little bit better, and you get to put me on the hot seat too. I don't know what you're going to ask. You don't know what I'm going to ask. It can be about anything in the world. It doesn't have to be golf. You get to start, and you get to ask me the first question.
Okay. We'll get started. What's your favorite thing about podcasting?
Well, I would say it's telling the story. It's learning about people. It's making my world small in a good way. It's building connections. It's finding the good in this world and amplifying it, and just trying to help people laugh. I'm a strong man of faith. I love to joke around as well, and I like to learn. So I feel like for me, every day I have the opportunity to get up to do what I love and love what I do. I'm grateful to God for that. And, learning about people and seeing the goodness in the world and seeing the positives in the world, it gives me a lot of hope. I mean, I know in today's America, people are, there's a lot of negativity and there's a lot of focus on negativity, but I live in a world where I'm constantly meeting people that are positive and they're hardworking and they're kind and they're compassionate and they're real and they're honest, and I value that. So I feel like hopefully in some way, shape, or form in the work that I do in this world, I can leave things better than I found them, is my hope.
Great, yeah.
So my question back to you, Brandon, is if you could do any job in the world, what job would you pick and why?
I would say for me, being on the PGA Tour and being a high-level golfer would be great. I mean, playing golf every day. I mean, I know the kind of a smaller level golfers is definitely a grind. There's a lot of struggles with money on mini tours and kind of, what if I was able to get to high level in the PGA Tour and just play golf every day? That would be a dream at the best course in the world. It would be unreal.
So being on the PGA. All right. Well, I'm hoping that happens and you have an opportunity toward that for sure. What's your second one for me?
What is your favorite sports moment you've ever attended?
Favorite sports moment I ever attended. That's tough. I would probably say there's been a lot. thankful to God for that. There's been a lot of moments that I've been at. My favorite sports moment that I've attended. I'd probably have to say going to the World Series last year with my dad. I'm a Diamondback fan. We had never been to Arizona. We had never been to Chase Field. And, being able to do that with my dad, people, when I talk about it, I say I probably watched my dad more than I probably watched my dad watching the game more than I watched the game. And, what I mean by that is I was just great. I looked to my left and I said to myself, not everybody has their dad. Not everybody has a dad. And to know that like he's there and he's healthy and he's well and we have a great relationship and we have a friendship and he values me and I value him. Like, to me, there's just something about that moment where I can go right back to it. And, the fact that like I get to say that my dad and I took each other to the World Series, like, who gets to do that? And I feel very grateful for that moment and very just happy to be there and happy to have that time. And yeah, I don't know if anything can get close to that I can think of.
It's really special.
My last question for you, Brandon. If you could sit at a table with 3 golfers, who would you sit with and why?
I think I'd keep it pretty simple. I would say Tiger Woods, of course. I'd go Rory McIlroy. Been a big fan of his growing up. And then I think I'd throw in Brooks Koepka as well. I'd love to know kind of his detail on his mindset throughout how he's played, because he's been incredible in majors and tough situations.
Brooks Koepka, Rory McIlroy, Tiger Woods. That is a good table. That is a good opportunity to be in for sure. And I feel like I've kind of like taken Rory. To me, I've taken him because I know he's had adversity and I want to see him do some great things. And Tiger helped to get me in the game, and obviously Brooks has, done a lot of good things recently. So it's a good room to be in. Brandon Connor, hopefully we got you in one of those rooms on the PGA someday. Binghamton men's golf student athlete in the 2024-25 season, coming off of topping the leaderboard for the first time for a Binghamton golfer since 2019 and the 31st time overall since the program started competing back in 2001. From the Lehigh Invitational success to everything that you've done up to this point, Brandon, I want to thank you. I appreciate it. You represent the B well, and I look forward to seeing plenty more from you and hopefully getting to talk to you soon.
Great. Appreciate it, Dan.
All right, take
Thanks
care.
a lot. That was fun.
Appreciate you. Talk to you soon.
Yep.
That coming from Brandon Connor here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life in this edition of the Bearcat Breakroom. We're going to take a step aside for a fast break on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and we'll spin back around right after this. Avicolli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicolli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicolli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there, and of course you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100, and also find them on myavicollis.com. That's myavicollis.com.
peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Campground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Campground and where your dog will be staying. In the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Campground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to Canine Campground.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
GG Cards and Breaks. Like, comment, subscribe.
GG Cards and Breaks, coming to you on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York, is your one-stop sports card and trading card shop. Find GG Cards and Breaks there Tuesday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. and on Sundays from 10 to 5 with hockey, baseball, basketball, football, soccer, and so much more, including Disney Lorcana, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Pokemon, and Magic the Gathering. There's so many ways to enjoy GG Cards and Breaks. And if you've never collected cards before and you don't really understand it, now's a great time to give it a shot. Now's a great time to go in there and pick your favorite team, right? You know, you're a Yankee fan. You go in there, you find an Aaron Judge rookie card. You bring it home. You put it on your desk. Then all of a sudden, 20 years goes by, and it's still on your desk. That's what cards do. That's the kind of magic about it. It's just different. And that magic, it lasts. When I go into the card shop now at my 30s, it's the same as when I went in when I was a kid. I know the teams I like. I love to discover and find things. I like to get packs and boxes because I don't know what's in them. You know, and it's just different. And to this day, my mom, if I have a pack of cards, she'll take it and she'll rub the pack for good luck. She'll hand it back to me. I hope you get something good. You know, it's fun. It keeps your child's spirit going. It's exciting. And it's so unique. And GG Cards and Breaks, to me, they do it right. And that's why I choose them. That's why I go there. And that's why you should. Because they care and they value that kid spirit. 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York. Right off of Teal Ave, open Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 6 and on Sundays from 10 to 5. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call, this past week when I was out of town running Super Powered Pop in New York City and you were watching my ACC specials, some of them for ACC men's basketball, we didn't have the opportunity to do the annoying moment, to do lead, and to do the top dog of the week. And you know I'm not going to leave you empty-handed.
Dan Tortora proudly brings you...
Is that for real? Are you kidding me?
The annoying moment of the week.
I really, honestly, I don't know how to respond to this.
Presented by Carvel DeWitt, 4322 East Genesee Street. It's what happy tastes like.
Do you have to be that crazy? I guess so.
The annoying moment of the week, man. So I can go from last week, I can go into this week. My annoying moment of the week. What is my annoying moment of the week going to be? I would say to you that something that I find very annoying is when people don't have common courtesy for other people and don't really they don't think about other people. Right? It's like it's all about them. What do I need to do? What do I need to get done? How do I need to get it done? See, I'm a person that I think of other people. I can't help it. It's who I am. And I want to see people do well. I want to see people be happy. I want to see people have fun. It's just my nature. I could totally just look out for myself, but that's not how I am. And I like when people take the time to just do something nice for somebody, hold a door open for somebody, tell somebody that they look nice, tell somebody that they did a good job. And I think a little goes a long way. I actually know that a little goes a long way. So I would say that's one of my annoying moments of the week is, you may not agree with everything that everyone says and does and this and that, but life is not about making everyone to conform to who you are. Life is about being proud of who you are and being happy with who you are and sharing that with the world and not being afraid to share that with the world. It's not easy to go out there and show yourself. It's not easy to take risks. It's really not. But if you don't, what do you become? If you marry somebody that is okay and she ain't bad, he's all right. If you do a job where it's like, I get paid a lot, but I hate it. What are you saying to yourself? I accept mediocrity. I don't want to try. See, the thing about life is the only way to get what God really has for you, the only way to really honestly get what God wants to give you is that you have to be scared, and you got to saddle up anyway. You got to go through the fear. You have to. If you play it safe, yeah, you'll live your life, but will you be alive? People live life, but do they live? Right? I'm alive, Dan, I'm not dead. But are you living? Are you really taking it in? Are you enjoying it? Are you making the most of it? Or are you just kind of here, going through the motions? People ask me, do I get scared when I broadcast? Do I get scared when I'm in public? And my response to you is, when you hand me the microphone, I know I'm going to do what I need to do. I know God's got me. I know he's in the crowd, and I'm not trying to please anybody. I'm trying to please him. And that's how I live my life. Can I look at God at the end of the day and say, I did this with a good heart. I did it with a pure heart and good intentions. What I said and what I did was with a pure heart. It was with good intentions. I was trying to do something nice. I was trying to help. I was trying to bring some positivity. You know, can you say that? And, you know, I just find my annoying moment of the week is that it makes me sad that some people don't take calculated risks. I'm not saying to jump off of every mountain, but some of them you have to. You ever talk to someone who's never taken that leap of faith? They're usually miserable. They're okay. Their life's all right. It ain't bad, right? But it never sounds like it's great. It never sounds like it's wow. And if you want the wow in life, you have to take risks. And I'm not telling you to take every one of them, but you have to try. I wouldn't be sitting here today in my own studio, connected to my own office, working for myself, if I didn't believe in myself and take a calculated risk. I didn't have the money to start a business. I didn't have the place to start a business. I didn't have all the knowledge and wisdom in the world to start a business. But I did. Why? Because I believed in it. And I still do. Because I care about it. Because it matters to me. You know, I don't wake up every day and say, are my friends my friends? Are they going to be here today? If I have to wake up and wonder if you're going to be here today, you're probably not a good friend. And, you know, I think in life, we become so afraid about what could happen, how bad it could be. But we don't think about how great it could be. What if it all works out? What if everything works out? What if it's better than what we think it's going to be? You know? We watch these fairy tales growing up as kids and we go, well, nothing could be as good as that Disney movie. You can't have friends like that. You can't fall in love like that. You can't have that type of happy ending. Why not? Why can't it be better than a cartoon? Human beings' biggest threat to their life is themselves. You become a threat to yourself by how you talk to yourself, how you treat yourself, and if you're not willing to take a leap of faith. And that brings me into lead. Because lead for me, learn, evolve, ad-lib, and deliver, proudly presented by Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A, you know, and the wonderful people at 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, New York. This is a faith-based segment, and I talk about faith on my show. That's what the segment lead is about. Taking a leap of faith. Do you know how easy it is to give up? You ever talk to somebody on the phone and they hang up on you? And then they do it again and they do it again and it's effortless. When they don't like what you're saying, they just hang up. Quitting is easy. Quitting is very easy. That's why a lot of people do it. It's easy. It is easy to give up. It is easy to think it didn't work and it didn't work and it didn't work and it didn't work and it ain't going to work. But then there's some of us that don't quit. And we think about how can we get better? How can we improve? Yeah, I might have made a mistake today, but everybody makes mistakes. Nobody's perfect. What can I do to be better? Because if you lead with a pure heart and good intentions, you're going to make mistakes. But it's your pure heart and your good intentions that the right people are going to see. You might have missed a spot. You might have said something too soon. You might have thought out loud. You might have tripped. But what were you leading with? What was your goal? What were you trying to achieve? Because not a single person on this planet is going to go through it without a scratch. Jesus Christ himself, perfection, the only perfection, went into this life without a scratch, came out of this life with more scratches than you and I can ever imagine. So if Jesus Christ himself is beaten, bruised, and bloody, why are you complaining when you have a scratch? You're going to have a scratch. I'm telling you, your life is not going to be easy all the time. You're going to have to buck up, and you're going to have to figure it out. If you want something good in your life, you got to work for it. The work will not do itself. The money will not come on its own. The people will not come to your door while you sit in the house with the shades drawn. If you want something good in your life, you have to go out there and you have to fight for it. You have to fight to get it. There are people that have more money than you and I will ever imagine, and they're not happy. Because even they, with everything they have, are not taking a risk, not facing fear. In some part of their life, they are not going after what they want. Riches does not make you rich. What makes you rich is saying, can I really fail if I saddle up and try? Can I really fail if I face fear? I am a firm believer that every time you turn a corner and the devil is standing there trying to scare you away, God is right behind him. But a lot of us run before we look over his shoulder. They always say that your breakthrough was coming if you just held on a little bit longer, if you just walked a little bit farther, if you took one more step. They say most of the time when people quit, their breakthrough is right there. It's right there. But they don't take it because they're afraid. And it's okay to be scared. It's not okay to live in it. If people think I've never been scared because they're like, you could broadcast and you could talk to anybody in the world. If you think I've never been scared, you're crazy. But my fear doesn't stop me. Because I can't make this world a better place if I'm sitting in the corner shaking. And I can't help people sitting in the corner shaking if I'm sitting in the corner shaking. The way that you help others is even when you're scared, you got to act like you're not. Perfect example. When I'm driving in a car, if I'm driving in the winter and I hit a patch of ice and I start to slide and I feel like I'm losing control of the car, if someone's in the car with me, I stay calm. If someone's in the car with me, I try to focus and I try to be calm. And I could be terrified. I could be thinking, oh my gosh, I got no control of this vehicle. But if this car is swerving and there's somebody with me, I care more about helping them to feel safe and secure than I care about I'm going to scream and worry and freak out. What trumps my fear is my desire to achieve greatness in my life, to get closer to God. What did Jesus Christ do in the Garden of Gethsemane before he passed away? What did he do? He asked God to not let it happen. Divine, human. God and man. And the man side of Jesus said, hey, God, if I don't have to die, can we do something else? I'm afraid. And then what did Jesus ultimately do after praying? He got up and he let it happen. He faced the fear and he trusted God. After begging for something different and God said, no, we're not going to do that. He said, okay. And because he was fearless, we got a shot. We got a shot at heaven. We got a shot at a better life after this. We have a shot that this is not where we're done. Think about that. We have a shot because he wasn't too scared to quit. He didn't give up. You ever think about if you give up, maybe somebody's watching? If you don't do your best, maybe somebody's watching? It's not just Jesus. If you quit, somebody might see you and they might quit too. My father told me, good morning to my mom. My father told me a long time ago. I said, Dad, I don't want to be on the basketball team anymore. He said, why? I said, because I'm not playing. I said, I want to quit. He said, no. I said, what do you mean no? It's my decision. He said, I can't let you quit, son. I said, why? He said, because if I let you quit today, you will quit for the rest of your life. I was 7, 8 years old around that time. That was over 30 years ago. And I have never quit. My mother told me when you walk into a room, you own that room. You could be terrified out of your mind, but when you walk into that room, you walk into that room like that room is yours. You stand tall even if you feel small. And my mother's helped me to walk into rooms that I was treated like I didn't belong in my whole life. You know how many rooms I walked in that I didn't feel welcome in? That I felt like a ghost in? That I still don't feel welcome in. But it got easier and easier because my mother said, you don't walk into a room to please other people. You walk into that room because you want to be in that room. And if you want to be in that room, act like you should be. I can promise you at 39 years old, life is hard. Life is confusing. Life is a battle. Life is stressful. Life is depressing sometimes. Life is downright a pain in the butt. But if you push through that stuff, life is miraculous. Life is love. Life is funny. Life is giving. Life is joyful. Life is a positive domino effect. Life is exciting and exhilarating. Life is good and real and honest. So the next time you turn the corner and the devil says, run away, I want you to tell the devil to move. And I want you to keep going. Because the devil, if you were doing something bad, if you were doing something that wasn't good, the devil would want you to keep doing it. Remember that. When the devil says this is the wrong road, it's probably the right one. Because the devil wants you on the wrong road. So if the devil's blocking a road, that's probably your road. If God blocks the road, don't go down that road. But when the devil says, hey, you don't want to go down this road, you want to go down that road. Because if evil's trying to prevent you from doing it, if fear is trying to prevent you from doing it, it's because that road is a blessing. Fear does not try to stop us from bad. Fear tries to stop us from facing things. We can all be scared, and at some point in your life, you're going to be afraid. But do you want to be known for that fear? Or do you want to get beyond it? Because the goodness in your life lies beyond. It doesn't lie within. And it doesn't live in the running away. The best things in life are usually the scariest ones. And from a man who did something that probably be really scary to people 12 years ago, I can tell you that not living in fear gave me the opportunity to work for myself, to sit here with you today, to build a business, to build relationships, to build a community. If I had listened to fear over 12 years ago, if I had listened to fear 21 years ago, nothing that I've accomplished would have happened. So I am a living, breathing example that when fear doesn't win, you do. It's time for the top dog of the week. This week, proudly presented by Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Campground Dog Boarding. My top dog of the week for this week. This is a tough one. This could be a lot. But I'm going to give it up to Colin Farrell, the actor, who plays the Penguin. And I'm going to give it up to his prosthetics designer. That show is awesome. And Colin Farrell doesn't look anything like himself in this. He looks like a ballooned version of himself. He's got scars. His foot's all messed up. Looks like a club. He walks like a penguin. To do this role takes a lot. To do this role takes commitment. To do this role takes, I don't care if people laugh at me. I don't care if people think it's good or bad or indifferent. I'm going to do the best I can. And I think that the show The Penguin, to me, I want to give it up to Colin Farrell. And like I said, the prosthetics and just the artistry and everybody working on the show and the showrunner, to Lauren, that sometimes people create really, really cool things by doing, again, not being afraid, by doing things that people might laugh at, people might question, people might not like. But the belief and the joy and the trust and the faith created something really genuine and different. And so, to everybody working on the Penguin, you're my top dogs of the week because you transformed a person and you transformed a lot of things. And you're telling a story that's a lot bigger than a comic book. You're telling the story about the demise of a city. You're telling the story about how that happens. You're telling a cautionary tale, and you're doing it creatively. And I think it's great. I think it's really amazing to see people do something that has never been done that way and believing in that creation and trusting the process, because it's been a long process. And I just want y'all to know that I respect it. Top dogs of the week, Colin Farrell and the cast from The Penguin. And that finally brings me to the ingredients to success, proudly presented by the wonderful team at Avicolli's, which rounds out every Tuesday broadcast here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. So we take a look at the ingredients to success. And today's topic are the moments. Do you celebrate them? Do you live in them? I'm a culprit of this. I did it yesterday. Unfortunately, I have to admit that to you. I didn't live in the moment. I was worried about the ifs and the buts and the whens and the whys and the hows. So I was living in the future. And probably a little bit in the past. And do you know where it got me? To a place where I felt uncomfortable. To a place where I felt not myself. And to a place where I felt like I was making mistakes. So I chose this topic before I even lived this topic in such a way where I need to do better. Do you live in the moment? Do you enjoy the journey, enjoy the ride, or are you so focused on where am I going, where am I going, where am I going, that you're not enjoying it? You know, if you went on a ride today, let's say you went to Disney and you went on a ride. And the whole time you're on the ride, you're like, what happens next? What happens next? What happens next? Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. The ride's going to be over and you didn't enjoy a single part of the ride because you kept thinking about what's going to happen next. Instead of just riding the ride. Where did that get you? See, when you live life wondering what's going to happen next, you're not looking at what's happening right now. And when everything's good, let it be. Let it be. You make a sauce at a restaurant and people love the sauce. They love your marinara, the marinade. They love your sauce. They love the red sauce that you have at your Italian restaurant. And they've loved it for years. And you just look at it one day and you go, what if they don't love it tomorrow? What if they don't love it today? What if they, and you start adding to it and you do this and you do this and now you put so much in the sauce that now the sauce is a little bit unbearable. It's too sweet. It's too spicy. It's too much. It's too much. When we don't live in the moment, that moment goes. Yesterday at 8:37 a.m., I was no longer 38, I was 39. So I said to myself before I turned 39, I said, how are you going to spend your last day of being 38? How are you going to celebrate that final day? Because once it's gone, now you're 39. And you can never go back to being 38. And I have wasted so much time wondering what was going to happen next. And you're 21 and then you're 39. You're 24 and then you're 32. And you say, what happened in the midst of all this? I worried, I doubted, I feared, I was scared, I didn't focus, I didn't enjoy the moment. Life is about moments. And if you're blessed enough to have them, have them. Not everybody gets to dance. Not everybody gets to sing. Not everybody gets to travel to this place or that place. Not everybody gets to be on the top of that mountain. Not everybody gets to ski there. Not everybody gets to go to that beach. When you're there, be there. Do you want to have memories of just taking in and breathing in the air on the beach, or do you want to have a beach screensaver? Because anybody can have a beach screensaver. Well, I took that picture, Dan. Great. Did you enjoy it when you were there, or do you just use it as your screensaver? Life is not about the pictures. It's about the memory. The pictures might jog your memory, but the memory is when you look at the picture, you go back there. And when you go back there, do you go back to a place where you're like, oh man, that was a really great time, where I worried and I doubted and I didn't have a good time? How do you spend your time? You know what I thought about when my grandma passed, when G-Mama passed away? I thought I had a lot of conversations with her I didn't need to have. I had a lot of repeat conversations of my own worry and my self-doubt, where I could have been talking to her about World War II. I could have been talking to her about my grandfather. I could have been laughing with her. I could have been doing other things with her. But I was worried about stuff in my life, and that is what I talked to her about. The thing about lessons is you don't learn them till you learn them. And you just hope to God that once you learn them, and it's not too late. Because you don't learn them until you learn them. And most of us learn the hard way. You got to screw up to learn. You got to not live in the moment to go, crap, I should have. And I just hope for you, and I hope for me, that it's never too late once you learn. Those are the ingredients to success. Make sure you're living in the moments. And head off to Avicolli is a fantastic place to make a memory, to make a moment. 7839 Oswego Road in Liverpool, New York. I appreciate them. I love the work that they do. And I implore you to go there 7 days a week for lunch, dinner, and drinks. Of course, if you're going to drink, be of age and drink responsibly. Get home safe, always. And head to Avicolli's today and let them know the Wake Up Call sent you. I want to thank everybody for tuning in today on youtube.com and facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT, and on wakeupcalldt.podbean.com. I want to thank you for downloading us and following us on Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Podbean, Podvine, Podchaser.com, Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube. All you got to do is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. And a big thanks to our incredible partners, obviously Brooklyn Pickle down in Southern Pines, North Carolina, right by Pinehurst Golf Courses on 1788 Old Morganton Road in Southern Pines, North Carolina. Make sure you go down there and see them today. And all of our partners here in Central and Upstate New York, Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, Servomation, reinventing, reinvigorating, and reimagining what it's like to have vending, the food, the choices, the quality. Find out more at servomation.com. It's SERVOMATION.com. Mother's Cupboard, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Avicolli's, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, GG Cards and Breaks, Ma and Pa's, the snack capital of the world, Pizza Man, Great Lakes Honda City, Brian's Landing, Chick-fil-A Cicero, Fire Pit Barbecue and Saloon, and of course we are the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Lemoyne College Dolphins, your Bryan and Stratton College of Syracuse Bobcats, and your Binghamton University Bearcats. Find your Dolphins every Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time during Dolphin Time, your Bearcats every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time during Bearcat Time, and your Bobcats every single month. You can find them all by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe and hit the notification bell. And you can find our Lemoyne playlist, our BSC Syracuse playlist, and our Binghamton playlist. And you can also go to wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab to find out more from all of them. So thank you to all of the great work that is being done and all of our wonderful partners. I can't thank you all enough, and I appreciate you greatly. Big time shout out to Brendan Murphy for joining me today, Papa Joe for joining me on my birthday yesterday, for Brandon Connor for joining me today from Binghamton University's golf after being at the top of the leaderboard for the first time for Binghamton golf in 5 years that any student athlete's done it. And shout out to Brandon Connor, and I hope for a lot of great things to come. Thanks to Carvel DeWitt for the annoying moment of the week. Thanks to Chick-fil-A Cicero for lead, learn, evolve, ad-lib, and deliver. Thank you to our top dog of the week, those who work on the Penguin, brought to you by Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Campground Dog Boarding. And thank you to Avicolli's for the ingredients to success, focusing on living in the moment. With that being said, find us on Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, X at Call DT, Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT. God bless. No stress. Do your best. We'll talk soon. Take care and stay safe.